All right, welcome speedrun fans to the TGS Speedrunner series powered by Shaw. My name is Eddie, and this is
Seffi, welcome one and all. Eddie, it's a thrill. Oh my gosh, are we gonna see our homies pop off? Imyt and smCharles in a Super Metroid any percent race.
yeah. I'm so excited for this. It's been quite a while since I've been able to cast a race, but Charles, Imyt, uh, coincidentally happen to be roommates, happen to both be very good Super Metroid any percent speedrunners, and happen to be right next to each other on the leaderboards as well. But yeah, this is going to be a best of three Super Metroid any percent tournament. That means that, or sorry, match. That means that they're going to be um, just beating the game as fast as possible with the least amount of resources that they need to kind of go as fast as they can. Now, this is any percent. It's not like low percent where you're just trying to get the minimum amount or you're trying to get additional e-tanks or additional items to complete the game. They're going to be getting pretty much just about what they need to finish the game as fast as possible. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be really exciting. Seffi, as a person in this game that
Sure.
also has a very good time, any thoughts on today's match, the run, or just things in general about Super Metroid?
Well, I do want to go over really quickly that, like you said, they're right next to each other on the leaderboards. Charles is with a 42 minutes and 4 seconds PB,
Mm-hmm.
and Imyt with a 42 minutes and 8 seconds personal best for him. Um, and yeah, honestly, I can imagine what it's like living in that household because all that potential 41 energy that they're both. I mean, they could 41 this very race, Eddie. Like that's what's important, and that's maybe we might see that. I know that they're gonna have fun racing. I know that they trash talk a lot to each other. It's a good dynamic and it makes for really good memes. But yeah, honestly, I'm glad to just be here to cast this alongside with Eddie, who honestly also is an incredible runner of this game. So shout outs to you, dude. I am honest. I'm ready. I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait to see this because it's always a treat to be able to see top level runners in a race setting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Seffi, definitely you too. Also a very strong runner here. I mean, no shortage of good Super Metroid runners in this whole
Oh,
broadcast. But yeah, I mean, very excited. Some things to point out. This is an exhibition match. We've had some races in the past that involve cash prizes and whatnot. And, in some of those, we can't necessarily. The big thing about this run, Super Metroid's a very punishing game because if you die, you start from the beginning of the game. That's pretty much how it
mm,
works. So it's really nerve wracking. So because it's an exhibition match and it's not like we have thousands of dollars on the line here or something like that, where
right.
we have safety saves in place in the event that some of these
Mm,
players die. Like let's say in the middle, there are some parts in this game that are very dangerous. You just have to accept that if you're trying to go fast, you will take the death and then you just start over. However, not the greatest for an exhibition match. So if they do die in some of the more dangerous spots, they will have saves they can go back top to. Sometimes there's death that can happen, or ways that you cannot complete the game, even at the very end of the game. Sometimes you run out of
yeah.
missiles, can't complete the game. So we have some saves there just in case that happens. Just to provide for the viewer experience. But um, that's pretty much it, I think.
I mean, anything else we could probably
Oh, here we go.
honestly we could just go from here. There's plenty to explain as we go along, because there's gonna be strats to behold, and obviously the route is also something else that we got to talk about.
Yep.
It's a little bit more of a dangerous route. You already mentioned that that you could like potentially die. You could soft lock. We're not gonna see any of that though. Like as much as I want people to go for learn this game, pick this up as a speed run, I do encourage people and the viewers right now here at TGS to please try this at home. Like these are professionals, trained professionals, but they're not joking around when they're in a competitive setting, and it's going to be good, it's going to be friendly. I think we are good to go because I don't want to hold this up any longer. We could you want to count us down, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll count us down. I'll start
Let's
from
go.
5, and when I say go, I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say it, and then that's when we'll start. Okay. All right, runners,
Got
are
it.
you ready? Okay, I think we should be ready. It will be on go. Yes.
I'll go.
Okay. All right. Here's the countdown. Here we go. Okay, not that one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. Good luck
Ooh.
to Charles and to Imyt. We are looking for sub 40 paces. I'm just kidding.
All right. Right off the bat,
Yeah.
Seffi, you see who has the lead? Did you see what happened?
Yeah. From the get-go, the lead goes to Imyt only because of a slight tiny moonfall, which is a tech that we will utilize that was kind of recently discovered in the past few years, and we can, I don't know, that gives Imyt a slight advantage just in this beginning game,
Gives
but
them like literally a quarter of a second, but you know that's about it. Imyt trying to do a nice little CWG off the wall. We'll talk about that later. Now, first things first. This Ridley fight, 2 ways to get across it. You damage down to below 30, or you shoot Ridley 100 times. Just take the
yeah.
damage as fast as you can. Get out of this fight. Otherwise, it's pointless. And they're going to get to the end of this level as fast as possible.
Yeah, I couldn't really understand someone trying to flex, shooting Ridley 100 times in this racing setting. Like right now, as you can see, they're trying to dash up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I forget the personal best of these runners, but what they're looking for is a 47 seconds left on the timer. In order to potentially reach a personal best on their escape. But 45.93 and 45.36, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good
Yeah.
escape times.
Perfectly acceptable. Series, that beginning intro sequence, some people love it, some people hate it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of RNG. Sometimes the steam will just randomly hit you. Sometimes a tile won't come out, so you can't boost off of it. Or sometimes a tile will come when you're not expecting it, and you just get knocked backwards. Oftentimes, runners will just reset if it goes really poorly. But a 45 left on the clock is completely acceptable. Anyone would pretty much take that. Even the world record holder, the top people in this category will take a 45 generally. So good start of the beginning.
There's a lot of technical movement at the beginning. They're really going to be trying to like sharpen their ledge grabs and their wall jumps, leaving little room for error here as they go to pick up their first item, the morphing ball.
Yep. So one quick tech I want to point out. Notice that right here they did a moonfall. This is going to be the most apparent point where this is a moonfall right here. Now, you see this shaft is actually a very long shaft. It takes like 5 seconds to get down it. However, there is a little glitch in the game. We mentioned this in the beginning, but if you hold a shot and you have moonwalk on, which is an extra option that you have to turn on before you start the game, if you do that, spin jump backwards, for some reason, your fall speed is actually uncapped. Typically in this game, there is a fall speed that you will get capped at, but you can do that to uncap your fall speed and just get down that shaft really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But here we go. First time in the game, morphing ball. This is going to let them morph. Pretty big thing in all Super Metroid or all Metroid games.
Yeah, it's pretty much signature. And speaking of signature, these runners both have like some pretty distinct playing styles. I know that we're gonna see it coming up. That shaft that you were talking about, going up. There's various ways to climb, which is literally the name of the room, the climb room.
Yep.
We're gonna see Charles utilize what we call the behemoth climb, which is just using some clean, precise ledge grabs. As for Imyt is gonna be doing some of the, perhaps maybe like some of the best wall jump tech that we have seen going up that room. So they're gonna clear this pit room really quick. Oh, excellent D boost, which also exists in this game.
Now, it's going to be interesting to also watch that Imyt is going up the climb shaft right now. He is going to be wall jumping up the right side, whereas Charles is actually going to be utilizing these ledges, and he's going to jump up these ledges. In theory, it's actually not true, but like human-wise, the right side is probably a little bit faster. If you're actually a TAS robot, technically the ledge grab climbs could be a little bit faster. So it's interesting how in this game there's multiple ways to do a room. and they're all going to be reasonably fast. That's the really, really cool thing about Super Metroid. There's just a lot of ways you could play this game, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be better or worse than another one. There's multiple ways to approach it. Some are more conservative, some are riskier. In the end, some of them are going to be very similar times.
Exactly. And here we are at the, I guess, I want to say like second mini boss. I don't know if really counts. It's more like a scripted fight. But yeah, you're gonna see that they're gonna try to skip a an animation here, what they call the decapitation animation. Shout out to Hockey, by the way. Um, in standard gameplay, you will shoot that bird's head off like if it were a Dumb and Dumber bird that belongs to Harry. But you don't want to see that animation itself. Like, you want to skip the animation. It saves just what, like maybe a second and a half?
Yeah, something
No,
like
no,
that.
probably
Yeah.
a second. And it's obviously, you know, for the reason that, you know, you want to go fast in this game. Really quickly, quick shots, and I guess 7 missiles dispatches it.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things going on here. I mean, one of the things is realistically, Sephi and I could talk for probably hours in every
Yeah.
single individual room right here. We've already missed a ton that just happened right now. But one thing I'll tell you right now is, leaving this room, you want to have at least 2 missiles, and that's because there is a door we need to get to in this next room that Imyt's about to get into in Green Brinstar. That is it's a red door. You need 5 missiles. You notice he doesn't have 2. What he's going to do is shoot 2 shots at a bug and then shoot a diagonal missile. That'll give him 4 missiles. And so watch, 1, 2, bam, he's down to 2. He's down to 1. Got 2 missile packs, which is plus 4, 5. So this is very all like everything here is very calculated. You see, Charles had 3 missiles. So he got an extra missile that he didn't necessarily need, but in the end, he had just enough to get here. And this is what we call early supers. You are not supposed to be in this spot of the game until you get Speed Booster. Much later on in the game, super missiles, your first pack of super missiles, you're supposed to get from Spore Spawn, which is in a completely different area. However,
Another mini boss.
by utilizing a trick called the Mock Ball, which is you keep your run speed while morphed, you can cheat and get through those gates, basically, and you can get these early super missiles, which let just skip so much of this early game that we don't have to do.
Right, and this part is extremely crucial simply because this is going back to the route, the boss order that these runners are going to be going through. They're going to not be hitting up Kraid first. They're going to be doing Phantoon first, and that requires... Phantoon hits hard. And they're going to fight Phantoon without the Varia suit, meaning they're going to be taking a lot more damage. And what's important here is ammo count and health as well. You don't really want to see these runners leave here. Oh my gosh, there's like so much going on. You don't want to see these runners dip below 100 energy, simply because it makes that Phantoon fight a little bit more scarier.
Yeah. So I mean, like Sephi, as you said earlier, Phantoon is not the first boss you're supposed to fight in this game. You're going to see these players basically sequence break and go up this red tower. Imyt's going to hit here first. I believe he's going to try to go for the Ripper Skip. We'll see if he gets it. But let's see. Can he get this?
Let's see.
No, okay, he messed up, so he's not going to get that right now. Now, getting up that red tower, typically the game expects you to have Ice Beam to freeze all those little Rippers to basically kind of make a little stairway to get up there. However, these players are going to be using a series of wall jumps to skip that entire thing. Now, Sephi, as you said, this is going to be really dangerous because they're going to Phantoon first. Once again, this is going to be their first pack of power bombs, which is not necessarily what you're going to be getting earlier in the game, but they're skipping all that, essentially not having the Ice Beam and whatnot and the various suit to get up here. Now, here's the scary thing about Phantoon. Typically, the game expects you to have Varia. Phantoon will hit you for 40 without a suit. With the Varia, it'll hit you for 20, and they only have 1 E-Tank. That means they have, at most, 199 health. So they can die in, like, just a few hits. And it's very realistic that can happen. I don't expect it. These both players are both good, but it could absolutely happen. I mean, right now, I don't know if you said, but if Imyt touched one of those crabs, it actually one-shot him. So he's not supposed to be here right now. Okay.
No.
Notorious room. We got the moat. Sephi? That is not the
Okay, so
CWJ frame. Can you give us a quick
it's
detailed
not.
explanation here?
What so everyone's familiar with bomb jumping, one of the most difficult things to do casually. Imyt gets
Good
it
play for
first
Imyt.
try, horizontal bomb jumps, which is a lot harder. We're gonna see Charles go for it as well. No, oh my gosh.
Right in the moat.
So you also kind of want to position yourself just on the right side of that little like pillar, so that you can get enough distance off your horizontal bomb jumps. There is a little bit of a rhythm. Oh my gosh, Charles. And yes, this part is a huge gatekeep in this particular route because, as you can see, you kind of have to reset your setup each time. Charles makes it, and we're good.
That bomb jump seems, I mean, I'll give you a quick detailed explanation. You lay a bomb, you have like a 3-frame window where you lay the second bomb right before the first one propels you. You lay the third bomb as you go to the right. You have to press left almost instantaneously. Once you get back, you have to immediately tap right so that you're facing the right direction in morph. Otherwise, it won't work.
Right.
And all of that has to be perfectly timed, otherwise it doesn't work. And so this is our a fast for Imyt. Now, Fantoon has a lot of RNG, and Imyt getting a fast right here is really nice. I think he wanted to showcase a 1 round, but he didn't have the missiles. He typically won't happen. Fantoon can give you 3 patterns: fast, medium, or slow. Call it fast, mid, slow. So Imyt got the good luck. This is often a big reset point for runners, because if you get a bad pattern, you might just have to reset because you just don't have, it's not a good enough time for you to really continue. But great 2-round for Imyt. 2 cycling to Fantoon. A lot of going on here, but a Doppler is how you typically will execute Fantoon in this route. You shoot the missiles while walking forward in a rhythm, because if you don't do that, Fantoon will actually disappear after just 2 shots. So to actually get the Doppler shot on Fantoon, where you're getting 4, 5, 6 missiles, even more sometimes, is extremely difficult. Now we're going to see Charles do a Doppler. Yep, got a good Doppler there.
Nice job.
He will probably also be able to get a 2-round here. And Charles gets a slow fast. So slow fast for Charles.
Oh, but not enough missiles.
Oh, yeah, Charles needed 1 more missile.
My goodness.
He didn't get. Okay, but he.
Oh.
Wait. Oh, this is not good.
What is this?
Okay,
that's fine. Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. That was actually the worst like you could get drops wise.
Yes.
Because normally, and I think Fantoon has it out for like every SM runner, but normally you should be getting enough missiles to be able to even 2-round him. And unfortunately, Charles got kind of hecked on in that department.
Yep. That is quite unfortunate, but you know what? Charles makes it through in the end. This is not a lead that Charles can't catch up to. I mean, Super Metroid, the swings are crazy. There's so many points where you could just lose tons of time. I mean, we saw Charles have those issues in the moat earlier. Typically, this Fantoon first route, as you can see, they have to do that crazy bomb jump to get across. If not the crazy bomb jump, they essentially have to get a frame-perfect jump on the entry, followed by a 2-frame window jump to get like a little, it's called the CWJ, continuous wall jump, where they just jump over the moat. But it's a frame-perfect trick into a 2-frame window. It's not something you can guarantee every single time because it's a hard trick.
Right. And I mean, even wreck ship enemies themselves hit really, really powerful. You want to also reserve as much health as you can in order to cross what Imyt just did, which is the bowling spikes, which hit for 60 damage. At the very least, of course, you want 121 health, or energy, which is usually once you make it past this pit, that you're good to breathe, provided you have enough health. Oh, Charles is looking good here.
Yep.
And he should also be able to clear this as well.
Yep. Let's just double check that he gets across just fine. I'm sure he'll have no problem with the max HP that he have. Steffi, when I first played this, there were so many times where I would get past Fantoon, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I finally got past Fantoon. He didn't kill me. I have a run. This is when I first starting out. And, I get to bowling. I'm like, wow, I'm like a minute ahead. And then I just mess up this room, and I die. And it's just so easy to mess that room up because the iframes that you get after landing on the spikes are so short. So you just think that you're gonna be able to jump a little bit later, but you don't. You take the hit and then you just randomly die, and then you cry. And that was me a long time ago.
Yeah, but you've developed into the master that you are now, and it's honestly it's a really big point of relief when you're able to just kind of get cuddled by that statue, letting you know that it's going to be okay. You got a run going, 41 pace. Here it goes. Another thing that they want to start taking into account now is their super count. It's just gonna save them a little bit more time when having a farm. They're going pretty much. I don't know how safe they're gonna play. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna go PRKD though, right?
Yeah.
Because they really want to go all out. They want to show what this run, can really what it is, the potential that it has for anyone to just kind of get into
Yeah.
and
So, oh yeah, continue. Sorry.
no, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. I think the extra precautions that we will be taking here, as Effie was mentioning, are PRKD. The four letters that we're talking about, that's the acronym for the bosses. So Fantune first, Kraid second, Ridley second, Kraid, and then Dragon, and then we go finish the game. The old school speedrun route is KPDR. So you go Kraid first, Fantune, Dragon, and then Ridley. That is kind of how the game intends you to play the game. That's the kind of like dev intended run, because those are the bosses in the correct order. Now, that being said, I do know that these runners are going to be taking some precautions. For one, they are going to be getting 20 missiles total. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if they forgot and their muscle memory just makes them jump over the missiles, but they are going to try to get up to 20 missiles. They can complete the game with 15 missiles. However, the 5 extra missiles is not that much of a time loss for basically a very good chance of you just completely ruining your run at the very end of the game, because you need every single one of those missiles if you go 15 missiles to beat the game.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be taking that precaution, and they do have those safety saves in LN as well. So I do think they're going to just go hard. They're going to showcase that the run that they do with some minor safeties.
So I don't know how you feel about this particular section, Eddie, but I know it's infamous for being perhaps one of the most difficult to have to navigate through, because this is the point in the run where you're pretty much upgrading all your equipment.
Yep.
You get high jump, so you got to adapt to from playing, having just the tiny basic jump that you have into playing with high jump. And then after this, you're also going to be seeing that they get speed booster about a minute from now. They get ice beam. So there's a lot more adapting that they kind of have to do on the fly. Here we're going to see Imyt go ahead and do the ice escape here, which is also utilizing that same mock ball that we mentioned earlier for sequence breaking.
Yep, exactly. So good ice escape from Imyt right there. Yeah, and like Safi, as you were saying, this whole upper Norfair section. Now the thing is, we sequence broke. We went to wreck ship first. That was the scary part. Now everything here. Now that we have the gravity suit, you were supposed to come to this area with either various suit or basically no suit. So suddenly everything here is like a joke. You're not going to die to anything in this area. So the reason why Upper Norfair is so hard is because it's just a test of your movement. There's a lot of time there's a lot of rooms where you just bleed time. For example, here's Imyt. He's going to be doing the Bubble Mountain. I think he's going to go for the right side. Let's see if he goes for it. This wall jump is extremely difficult. Okay, he misses it. Goes for the backup. And good backup for Imyt right there. But yeah, I mean, all these rooms, they're actually quite tricky and technically demanding. Nothing here is going to kill you because you're actually way stronger than you're supposed to be in this stage. But the rooms itself, you can just, it's a death by 1,000 cuts kind of section. This Upper Norfair section, complicated rooms that will just make you lose 1 second here, 3 seconds there, 5 seconds there. And then you have to kind of conserve your resources. So as we see Imyt with 9 supers, amazing resources. Charles only has 5. So he's going to maybe have to farm those speed boosters, and that's going to cost him some time. So there's a lot of kind of like thinking and calculation you have to do here as well while you're managing resources before we get to that lower Norfair section, which is probably the most dangerous part of the game.
Right. So they honestly have like the hardest part down, but it gets even more scarier when you see that their health is going to start dipping a little lower as they go to. They're going to be taking some calculated damage here. That's for a D boost. that Imyt tried to go for. Another good little second saver.
Mhm.
Um, Depending on if they pick this up.
Okay.
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 So Imyt's not yeah, that makes sense. This is gonna pretty much try to eh, try to save him from potentially soft locking at the end of the game, which
Yes.
is good. Um, because there's some if you skip that, there's additional damage to take. But if you want to play it as safe as you can, at the very least, you avoid these spikes and you try to enter lower Norfair with as much energy as possible. There's not really any safe spots to farm here because nothing really drops health. You just kind of have to commit. And this is why the runners have those safety saves, which of course we know that they're not going to be using because they are going to pop off and they're going to have one of the most easiest lower Norfairs we've come to witness.
Yeah, so as we were talking about, the missiles that Charles just got at a very high level, those are missiles that are technically optional. However, for the sake of this run, I think both players have agreed to grab those. I thought there was a good chance they'd just forget because it's really hard to beat your missile. Oh well, Imyt got the lava spark
Oh,
here.
he got the lava spark.
Ooh, yeah, that trick is very important. This is a situation where we're talking about where if they screw that up and they mess up the backup, um, they can reload and there is a save at the top of lower Norfair. So normally that's a spot where people's runs die very often. So Imyt gets it, nails the trick. We're gonna have to see that. We're gonna have to hope that Charles hits the trick too. But Imyt currently entering lower Norfair. Very dangerous section, the most dangerous
Yeah.
section of the game, basically. Here's going to be another short charge that he has to get. I don't know if he got the short charge there. Okay, Imyt didn't get the short charge, so he's going to have to use 2 power bombs here. Didn't want to have to do that, and that means he's going to have to do an even slower strat in the further room, on top of losing the 10 seconds right here. Charles gets the lava spark. Now,
Charles gets some.
here we go. Worst room in the game for Imyt. He has to lay this power bomb, break the block to the top, use the iframes to get this wall jump through the pirate and make it to the top, and there we go. Has to jump over this pirate, and very well executed by Imyt. Now,
Right.
Charles entering lower Norfair as well. This is going to be another really scary section, of course, for him as well. So here we go. I think Imyt's kind of getting a good spot. He's executed this very well so far. But Charles, let's keep our eye on him briefly to see if he can get this pillar spark. I think he got the short charge.
Yeah, it looks like he is in a good position to get it,
Oh,
which
there we
he
go.
does. But another important thing to note is because you take a look at their energy. Because shine sparking here costs energy. Charles is, in a little bit more of a dangerous spot
Mhm.
as opposed to like Imyt. It's fine though. Like this is all calculated, of course. It's looking really, really risky here, but Charles is like honestly executing this first half of Lower Norfair really, really well.
Yep.
You're gonna see him pick up. Actually, hopefully he gets a. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's
Okay, it's fine.
Oh man, Charles has to get across. Yeah, he's just gonna have to wait here
Yeah.
for this guy because honestly, everything here hits you for 50. Can't mess around. Can't take that extra hit. That's gonna get you killed. So, Charles, that little spark in the ceiling, you do have to spark to the right. It looks like almost like a mistake to the casual eye to spark to the right, but the idea is the echoes that come out of your shine spark will kill the pirates, reduce the lag, and give you some additional drops. So Charles is going to have to get a little mock ball under all these guys, and should be okay here.
Good.
All right, we have Imyt entering this Ridley fight.
Yeah, with Ridley.
Ridley is definitely the most complex boss in Super Metroid. Oh wow, doing a really, really good minute at the start. Oh, getting another minute bread here. This might be one of his best fights. This is like the best opening you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
I mean, man, Imyt might get like a record time here. That was a really, really good opening. But yeah, Ridley,
It was.
there is literally a chart an AI chart that was created out there that explains exactly how Ridley's AI works. There's a lot of RNG. There's a lot of states that Samus has to be in that determines what you can do. But basically, if you're a new player fighting Ridley, you don't want to just be randomly jumping in the air, or else Ridley's just going to freak out and keep hitting you, and you have no way to figure out what to do. So basically, any jumps that these players do, anytime they spin jump or break their spin, that is all manipulating Ridley. It's hard to stress how much is actually going on in these subtle movements. And basically what's going on here is Imyt would normally have to fire 60 charge shots. So that's why he has to use all of his missiles and all of his supers to just do as much damage. You want to front load the missile damage, and then you want to kind of backload the supers damage. That's how most players do it, because Ridley is a little bit more dangerous when he turns red. So a lot of things going on here. Charles is now entering the Ridley fight as well, and I believe both of these players are going to be getting that Ridley E-Tank. Yes.
It's also really important because this is, I mean, you already mentioned earlier that a lot of these enemies hit for 50, for 40.
Yep.
And depending on the drops, you know, in your typical speed run, you might leave here with less than 100 energy or whatever.
Yep.
Sometimes if that's the case, you kind of like pray for a health bomb, which is when you're below the threshold of just getting normal drops. The game actually just rewards you with only health drops. But it looks like they should be okay, especially because, you know, they pick up the Ridley E-Tank.
Mm-hmm. Now, normally players of this caliber typically won't pick up this E-Tank. It is one they skip.
No.
However, what that happens is this whole section, the escape, leaving Lower Warfare, is more dangerous than the Ridley fight itself. The enemies here are stronger than Ridley. They actually hit you harder than Ridley do, and you're often leaving with very little HP. So in a race situation, race setting, that E-Tank will let you kind of be able to barrel through everything if you have to and not really cause you a risk. So in a race situation, grabbing that E-Tank, and if you're first starting out especially, or if you're kind of easing into this particular route of the speed run, it's always advised to grab that Ridley E-Tank until you get to the point where you can do almost all of these end rooms near flawlessly, because otherwise you're gonna die, and if you die, you're not getting that practice late game, and it's just gonna be demoralizing. Basically, try it at home after you get good enough.
Exactly. Actually, you know what? I really like that you mentioned that, Eddie, because, you know, this whole section is just manipulation, like, and not the type of manipulation that they do to each other, you know, as friends. But I'm talking about like enemy manipulation, like Ridley boss fight manipulation. Like even this room that Charles is in, all the bomb drops, the bombs that he lays are calculated to get those key hunters in the proper position so that he does not take damage. Same with the final room right before, you know, the
Charles is
music
going to it
changes
right
here.
now. He's going to it right now. Three Musketeers.
Infamous Three Musketeers here. Real big run enders. All of this movement is just calculated to a T so that he does not take damage. This is why it's always a clencher, but
Flawless.
Unscathed.
Yep.
Great job.
Everything from the start of that room, the way you have to get the mock ball at the end, that all sort of determines like if the key hunters will be in the right spot so you don't take that hit. There are so many situations. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be Zost, you can be Oats, you can be Behemoth, the best players in the world, essentially. I can list all of them, but basically, at one point or another, you often get to that room with under 50 HP. You touch those bugs one time, run is over. We've seen in the previous tournament, actually, the speed gaming tournament, we've seen situations, Cutie versus Zost. Cutie being one of the top any percent runners, literally for a game that's worth thousands of dollars, essentially a match that's worth thousands of dollars, he's just going on full autopilot, letting himself just like, I don't even understand. He slightly messed up the manipulation, and he gets through that room surviving. And
wasn't he literally like a pixel from
he was like a pixel from dying. Yeah, and it was one of the most important matches ever. So all right, here we go. Kraid, hey, look, it's Kraid. All right, see you, Kraid. All right, Kraid,
until
quick
it's
kill.
Not Kraid.
Kraid, quick kill, everyone. One of the coolest tricks when you're first starting out, even if you're new, you can learn it pretty quickly. You won't always necessarily get it, but it's one of the best tricks to learn. It saves so much time. But essentially, Kraid normally stands up. It's a joke in the speedrunning community, call that the DLC crate if that happens, because all speedrunners typically will learn how to do the quick kill. There's 2 ways to go about it: shooting a charge shot, and then shooting 4 supers. But the way that most top runners will do it, you shoot 2 missiles. One of the missiles hits the mouth, and then you only need to use 3 super missiles to finish Kraid's mouth out. You have to shoot it in a right spot where his mouth is halfway open, and that actually locks him down. So here we go, right there. Yeah, right at that spot is where you shoot that super. Kraid gets locked, and goodbye, Kraid.
So excellent, great quick kills for both runners. They're on to their last boss, which is over in Meridia. Now, Meridia, it's just the thing about Meridia is that it has some of the wildest. Although Batu might not look like much, it has full happy that we're gonna definitely make sure to point out because it's one of the coolest, longest sparks in the game. In the 80% category, that's just like a treat to watch. It used to be considered TAS, but just listen to this like gorgeous, peaceful aquarium music.
Oh, Imyt.
I point that out for Imyt.
Yeah, Imyt grabbing some. I kind of wonder why he grabbed those. Did he need those extra power bombs? I was a little confused there.
Maybe health. No. I mean, he's good with energy, so probably just to be on the safe side. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see his power bomb. Those crabs do have a high chance of dropping power bombs, so I didn't quite see what his count was. However, this is going to be Batoon, another little mini boss. Essentially, what's going to happen, they're going to do a special charge beam called the X Factor. It uses a power bomb. Positioning is important, so he's going to fling these into Batoon and then shoot a bunch of supers. Oh, he's going to save some missiles? Okay. He could have shot another super to make that fight a little bit faster, but at this point on, you want to conserve as many super missiles as you can, because you need those at the end of the game.
Yeah, this is all some really good reservation for ammo. We're going to see Charles do the same thing. Both are pretty good at that top pattern, right? Because I know that there's like a double X Factor Batoon that I think both runners will be more than happy to like showcase for everyone here.
Yep, let's see if Charles gets it. He gets. Yeah, if it's the top pattern, both of these players do know how to do the double X Factor, so let's see. Okay, it is not the top pattern, so here we go. Charles just throwing a bunch of supers in Batoon's face, and there you go. And getting 2 supers in return. So honestly, the count's not bad for both. You know, sometimes Batoon will give you like 6 supers, and you're like, this is the best speedrun I've ever had in my entire life. But it's not always realistic. All right. Fortunately, didn't really get to see if Imyt got full halfy. However, judging by his energy count, I think he probably did. Now we have a lot going on. Let's quickly see what Charles does right here. If he can get the full halfy, stores that spark. Get really fast wall jumps up here, and then he does a quick jump and sparks across the entire closing. Excellent full halfy from Charles. Now here we go, Imyt with the Dragon fight. That looked like a good opener.
That looked really good.
That looked good.
Getting the lotto, but I don't know if he didn't get the short charge.
Oh, he didn't get the short charge. Okay, but I think he'll get the recovery right here. Oh, excellent recovery.
Okay, that's so good.
Spike suit. Missed the first one. Oh, bad frame.
Bad frame.
There's a lot that just went on here, but essentially Imyt does not have a free spark back over that long coliseum that we saw earlier. We'll see if Charles gets it later. This fight is really technical, but essentially you want to open up with this X Factor into a spark to do as much damage as possible. And then depending on the pattern that Dragon gets you want to shoot a bunch of missiles into her belly and then finish her off with a spark. So perfect fight, Charles. Let's see if he gets the spike suit. Oh,
nice job. That's
okay. He gets the spike suit. Now, that's essentially a double frame perfect trick. You store a spark, and you go up against the little sparks on the right. You have to tap it, and then on that first the frame after you get hit, you have to press jump, and then 9-10 frames after you have to press jump again. It's essentially a double frame perfect trick, but the reward is Charles flies across that Coliseum, and you know that's gonna help catch up to him a little bit.
That's the thing, because that's like a 10-second save, give or take, on Imyt. We saw, that this is actually not bad. Like Charles made up a lot of time because Charles did dip into the moat twice.
Yes.
And it just goes to show you that because of how good Charles is at his late game and so consistent. I know he's one of the more consistent runners post Ridley. He was able to make up a good amount of time and is just a few rooms away from Imyt.
As of right now, I believe, based on what I kind of saw, they're about 15 seconds apart. So, I mean, that's easily lost. Easily lost by Imyt for Charles to
That's
catch up here. Now,
that's a baby skip, Eddie. That's potentially a baby skip.
oh yeah, if Imyt misses the baby skip, Charles is ahead by a good amount. Now, there's so many interesting things out. One of the best reasons why Super Metroid is such a good, maybe one of the best speedruns out there, is there's so many different. Your personality really kind of shows in this game, because Imyt and Charles have very, very similar PBs. Their skill as of right now is very close to each other, I would say, right? But Charles, I would say, is sort of the more, he's kind of like the steady fundamentalist kind of player. And Imyt is a little bit more, I always make this joke that he's like the wild and raw player, where he sort of like weird things happen, he just kind of wings it sometimes, and he makes things work sometimes, and sometimes it's like, it looks kind of crazy. He likes going for like the really fancy stuff sometimes. He likes that because his kind of personality shines through with that stuff. I think Charles is kind of more like computer efficient. Like he's like this trick might be a little bit tricky and it's really not worth the risk. Let's do something that's a little bit more conservative but is way more consistent. That's sort of more of Charles's play style. And it's funny how you can play that way, and you guys, they're both very similar in skill. That's just kind of how it works. So in this case, you know, Charles missed that moat one, so he definitely fell behind. But I mean, with the moat fall, if you didn't make Charles fall in the moat and what happened earlier, I think he'd be ahead of Imyt. So it just goes to show that like there's a lot of things that sort of kind of like add up over time. But in the end, I mean, they're not that far from each other.
Yeah, no, this has been a great race overall. Oh my gosh, this is the last section, Torian. I'm pretty sure like all of the strats here should be just about the same. Although I think Imyt does like a different type of grouping.
He does some more riskier strats. Right? He does a strat where he will drag the second Metroid along with him. Charles hates that strat. It's what I was talking about. It's one of those strats that Charles is like, I'm never doing that strat, because it can actually just straight up kill your run. But here we go. Imyt's gonna shoot the super, drag these two Metroids. There you go. Drag them along. And yeah, that's pretty much the optimal strat that you'll see at the highest level. Charles hates that strat. He's like, I'm never doing that, because if you miss it and then the Metro doesn't follow you, it's so bad. So Charles will do something where he'll actually just shoot the first one, run in the lava, let the Metroid latch onto him, and then he goes and bombs them off and shoots them. Now that can still be very quick. The problem is if you don't have the health to kind of stand in the lava, you may not be able to do that strat unless you get really hooked up. So here we go. In the end, both of them going across, and Imyt coming out of Metroid 4 with perfect resources. That's what you want to see. Oh, Charles is getting hit a little bit here.
Kind of scared about that energy.
Yeah.
Oh, and the super count.
He does have 20 missiles though, so his energy is a little bit low. Does Charles missile here?
At least 3 supers. I think he's missiles.
Okay, he's good.
Okay.
He's good.
Wow, he is good.
Good thing he got the energy tank. Good thing he got 20 because that's not enough to really finish the run. All right, will Imyt get the baby skip?
Baby skip.
Oh, he's a little far.
For a jump.
I think he's good. I think he got it. I think he got it.
He should be clear.
Yeah, he's clear.
Okay,
he's
nice
clear.
job.
Now, this baby skip, it's at the end of the game, and this is like a 30-second time loss if you don't miss it. And at the highest level, you miss it, your run is over. So here we go. Charles doing another variation where he's going to drop these 2 bombs to knock the baby low.
Well, that was coming close right there. He should be good. Yeah.
And Charles gets it as well. Yep. Now, we want to point out that baby skip is something that's I don't know how long has it existed, Seth, for like 8 years, like something like that,
or maybe 10 years or something like that.
Yes.
And yeah, it had like an old version of it, but thanks to Stashio Cat and you being the gamers that you are, I mean, you tell that story, because
I mean,
literally
it's mostly Stashio, but a runner named Stashio Cat has actually come up as a complete joke, was like, hey, can you make the baby go clockwise? And he just like did it as a personal challenge. And it just so turns out that if you make the baby go clockwise, it's the faster baby skip. So the landscape changed literally in the last year. Something that's a trick that is like such a crucial trick in the game has existed for so long has completely gotten turned upside down only in the last year.
You
All right.
literally flipped.
Now, this Mother Brain fight, 60 shots to the dome. Dangerous fight. You can see Charles doesn't have much HP, 350 health. If he gets to 300 HP or lower, he is dead because Mother Brain will the final part of the shot, the final part of this entire fight, Mother Brain will hit you for 300 HP. So it looks like
Right.
they have enough health. They don't really have that much. Imyt is sitting nice and healthy because normally these players will have 3 tanks. And so Imyt has 100 HP more than you normally would. But Charles getting into a spicy situation with only 50 HP. Now, if one of those red beams hits Imyt, he could absolutely die because it hits you for 100 damage and it could hit you multiple times at once. If Charles gets hit by that, lights out 100%.
Yeah, there's no surviving that. What we like to call the catch-up beam. Okay, good. Charles should. Imyt's already entered the cutscene, as Charles is already just on the catch-up phase, trying to avoid that. There's times where the onion rings, the little blue rings, can combo you and hit you for like more than the 20 that they do as well. So that's also a really bad thing. Oh, Charles had a really good fight actually.
Yeah, really good fight for Charles. So, yeah, I mean, as you said, Mother Brain. I at some point people like to equate all the attacks with food. So the little bombs, we call them meatballs. The little yellow laser, we call them French fries. I guess that does look like a French fry. And the blue ones we call onion rings, and the final red beam we call the ketchup beam. They all hit you pretty hard. The ketchup being the one that will pretty much knock you out if you get hit by it one time. But yeah, in the end, both of these players getting through, and what a race. I mean, Imyt looks like he's going to be able to take this first match, but I mean, you take those moat falls out for Charles, now we're getting really close, right? It's it just goes to show, just you miss a trick here, you miss a trick there. I mean, Imyt missed the pillar spark. Charles was able to hit that. Charles got to catch up a little bit. So in the end, good race. But Mother Brain 2 is kind of the last really dangerous part of this game. The entire escape section, you can lose time there, but I would say they're not really at risk of too much at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, so
For sure.
I mean, great race from both of these players, but we will get ready to call time when this is over, and that will happen the moment that they land on the ship and Samus is facing the camera.
It's kind of flexing on everybody, saying like, yeah, I did that. I blew up another planet. So just another day at the office for Samus.
Yep. Why does Samus always have to blow up planets? I mean, what's up with that?
I don't know. She's just that, that strong silent type, which is like amazing that she can do that, because not a lot of people can just, set off that self-destruction sequence on a daily basis like Imyt and Charles do, and pop off with like really great runs.
All right, so
yeah,
the rainbow beam fight, Charles getting through, and Imyt is going to be doing the escape right now.
Now I know the biggest meme probably since this game came out is will they kill or save the animals? I doubt that Imyt's gonna try to throw as much as he loves throwing.
If
a tantrum, that is. Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna be seeing any animals.
If Imyt saves the animals, I have to imagine Charles would as well. I can't imagine that it's something that didn't accrue to beforehand.
True.
I don't even know if Imyt knows where the animals are. Okay, that's Imyt has been playing this game for so long, and he did his first 100% of the game actually like sometime in the last year, and it was spectacular. The chat was backseating him. He's like, "Where's this last side?" He couldn't figure it out. But yeah, Imyt getting ready to hit this much and on the ship and time. There we go.
Time.
Oh, Imyt finishing with a time of 43. Wow, 43:18. That's really
that's what
good.
I'm saying, right?
That's really good.
Like that's the fact that they were pretty much like close to a 42 run is incredible. It's like it's such a hard achievement. And GG to Charles as well.
Yep. Not too far behind.
Which is also a 43. Yeah, it's a 43 regardless. And those are really, really strong, respectable times. So shout outs to them.
Yeah, there's definitely I feel like in the any percent, I mean, this is they also had to grab the eatings and whatnot. So I mean, like without
Mhm.
some of those things, like this absolutely could have been a 42. And I'm sure that like, this is probably a run that they probably just would have reset at some point. So to get a 43-18 on just kind of like a race setting match is that's a good
Yeah.
time, Seppi. That's
It's
a
so
really good
good.
time. These are some great
Yeah.
runners.
It kinda, goes to show, what you can what you can do, like, if you continue a run and you don't reset, Um, being able to bang out, no reset runs is so important, and honestly, this is kinda good for them too to see that, what they can do, um, just, like, with no resets whatsoever.
Mhm,
Um, it gets you mentioned earlier that when you don't reset or when you don't die, it does give you a chance to kind of practice in a way, because you kinda have to hone being able to execute in the late game.
mhm,
And if you're resetting early, you don't really get as many chances to see that last part, to be able to finish strong.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm definitely proud of these two for being able to do that. 40 it's I feel like it would be a 42, without hiccups and like you said, without the safety pickups. Yeah, nice job.
Yeah, I mean, Safi, I feel like it was not too long ago that the 40. I mean, I've got to say, 42 is like a very elite time. There's really not. I mean, what do the leaderboards even look like right now? I'm going to check really
Oh
quick,
my
but essentially,
gosh.
there's
Yeah.
like a nearly 1,000 runners that play this game, and like a 42 is right about looks like the top 30 of every single person. There was a time where I remember when I first started,
Yeah.
42 was sort of like wow, you get the 42, that's man, you're sick. That's kind of like what was going on. Now these players are
Yeah.
basically the lad that they're gatekeeping the 41. They're literally in the top 15ish, right? That's like they're
Mhm.
the next people to get the 41. That's what the PVs are saying. So the 41
Yeah.
was always kind of like the last elite like time before you start
Mhm.
pushing literally world record level times, which is the 40. There's only 3 people in the world with that right now. But I mean, like to get a 43-18, I feel like just last year, if they got
Oh
43-18
my
and run, they'd be
gosh.
like, oh my gosh, that was so good. Now I think they're just
The
gonna be like a
last
little
year, yeah.
disappointed if they get a 43. Just goes to show how good these players are. I mean, Steph, you and I both know how hard it is to get some of these times and how much work you have to put in to actually get them.
Yeah, no, you have to sit down and they've been at it for years now. I think they started what 2017 perhaps, maybe 2018. They have years and time and I like they've been playing this game nonstop, honestly. I think it might have taken a break here and there for like a month or two,
Hmm.
but regardless, they didn't let up. Like they've been at it and it pays off. It's kind of good to see. We never got to see these really in like a tournament setting,
Yeah.
so that's why, I'm happy that they were able to like have this showcase for themselves, especially racing. It makes it fun, because for SM, everyone really likes to like help each other out, right? Like
Yes.
we know for sure they helped each other out. I know that you also like bounce back ideas, with them. Or with any other runners, like with Zost, with Oats, you've also like just brainstormed a couple of things. Obviously, and there's like names that just in general like that you probably might not really get to hear, but they're crucial to this like Super Metroid community too. Like they do their part and they're willing to help out. They have the discussions to brainstorm like strats and time saves and now we've seen yeah, like you had said in the last year, we've seen so many people grind down to 41s. We've seen 40s, which I think there's only 3 people with
Hmm.
with a 40 time
Hmm.
in Super Metroid, and the fact that it's like Oprah throwing out like 42s everywhere. Like, yeah, it's like it's still don't get me wrong, it's still really difficult, um, but definitely yeah, everyone's achievements when they stick to this game and they practice their heart out, I think they deserve the happiness that comes with it. So shout outs to you and shout outs to all the Super Metroid runners and the audience too. The viewers like are also along with for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, You know, it's funny. I actually got into Super Metroid speedrunning because of Imyt. So someone I've met before through some mutual friends, but I watched his
Uh,
stream and whatnot, and you know, and then I just kept watching because the speedrun is so entertaining. It has so much drama. Just the amount of like
yeah.
the go to the lore and warfare. It's so scary. You know, even at the very end, your heart is like beating if someone's on PB pace, and you just will you shoot a missile and miss the glass or something like that. That happens
Yeah.
and it's just over. It's over. It's not. There's no lull in the speed run. Even at the very end, if you're on PB pace, you miss one. I've seen it. You miss a jump. You miss that spark up to the top. Kills your PB. You work so hard
Yeah.
for it, and you might have been months before you got one. Years. I don't even know, right? But it's such a great speed run to run. And I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface on the tech
No.
that you can do in this game and just how mechanically. Charles and Imyt were both Super Smash Bros. Melee players before playing this game. And the reason why Imyt
Mhm.
likes this game, and I'm pretty sure Charles likes it too. Charles actually is the one that got Imyt into this game. But the amount of tech in this game, Imyt has compared it to Melee. We talked about ledge grabbing, but essentially you're in a spin jump. If you break the spin with L or R, you can kind of land on that platform and basically get into action even faster. Stuff like that is what is going to make you a very fast runner in this game.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's just so much small tech. Maybe we can go over a little bit more. And this time around, we kind of had to cover some of the big ones. Sure, we didn't cover everything, but that's what we're going to try to do this game. I think the runners are getting ready, so we'll just double check to see if both these runners are ready, and then I think we're going to do a countdown to get into the next one.
Yeah, no, it's good to just scratch the surface because on a deeper level, there's so much, there's so much nuance and so much subtleties in the gameplays. Like even just you mentioning the fact that you can kind of see their play styles and their personalities in how they play. That's very important to highlight because all of that counts. You know, there's some people. I mean, there's some people that are just good with being with frame perfect stuff. I know, like I bet you anything had Charles not gotten, you know, the horizontal bomb jump setup at the moat, if he had gotten a CWJ attempt, he would have popped off. He would have been able to do it. He calls it a free WJ, and that always works for him. So, we are definitely looking for an equalizer here on Charles's end, and I think yeah, they're good to go. I don't know if I'm ready, Eddie. Are you?
You know what? I think I'm ready, and I think you should do the countdown this time, Seth. Start at
Okay.
5, okay?
Yeah, we'll go on go. All
Okay.
right. So
Runners ready?
on go.
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. We are for race 2 now. It's a best of 3.
Charles, do the moonfall.
Imagine if yeah, is he gonna do it?
Oh, Imyt paid for it. But
Okay. So that's the one thing about that moonfall. It does save you time, but now look where Imyt's hubris got him.
So yeah, that moonfall, it's really, really hard to do. It's so
Yeah.
hard that some of the best runners say this is just dumb, I'm not gonna do it. It saves you like a quarter of a second. Imyt messed it up, and look how far behind he is. I think Charles is making the wise decision about not going for it in a race. I think he actually does it in runs, which makes sense because in runs you miss it, you just reset. In a race, you're back like 2 seconds though. All right, but here we go.
No. It's one of those things that you mentioned. Going for something like that as minute as saving 5 frames or whatever that saves. It's just his preference. Like he doesn't have to go for it, but he just feels, you know, he has solace in being able to go for those types of strats. So let's see what happens now. It's on Charles's end to try to balance this out now.
Charles making a little mistake right there, but that's okay. We got some friends in chat talking about Imyt flying too close to the sun. Shout out to Hockey over there, one of the greatest SM commentators. But yeah, I'd have to agree. But in the end, Charles with the 44-45, Imyt with the 46. I didn't quite see the time, but you know how I said that Imyt lost like 2 seconds earlier? Well, he just got the 2 seconds back right here.
Yeah. So right now, Imyt kind of has the same type of lead as if he would have gotten the moonfall. It's just slightly
Oh
ahead.
yeah.
So just a slightly change. I don't know. I wonder if Charles is gonna try to go for the weave in the moonfall weave here at the climb.
You know,
It,
okay, I can't imagine he's going to unless he just wants to show us up. Because if he's not doing the weave at series, he's probably not going to go for the weave and the climb down, right? Because he does the weave, he does the
he
moonfall weave
does.
in his runs. I think
Mhm.
I think he's probably playing a more race precaution safety. We'll see right here though. Imyt did not get the moonfall right there. Oh wait, oh they both messed
Neither
up the
did
moonfall
Charles.
right
Yeah.
there. little Jane
Oh
Carla
my
for both of
gosh.
them. Here we go. Let's see it. Oh, he
Oh,
did the weave.
Charles!
Yo, Charles saving
Charles
like
is
15 frames right there. There you go. And he's ahead.
and he's ahead.
He's ahead. Oh no,
He's-
now he's behind.
Oh no, he's
change,
not.
change the
Never
lead. Change the
mind.
lead. He's go back. He found the pit.
This is
All right,
this
it's
is
neck and
actually
neck,
pretty
but
silly.
you know, if we're talking
Yeah.
about like frames or like 1 second, technically it's the lead right here. But
This
look at all
is
this
the beauty,
drama.
though.
Look at the drama.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in another game, in any other game, like a platformer, if you were to mess something up like that, you die, and you
Yeah.
probably start at the beginning of the level, right? But here, you have to adapt on the fly and just kind of work with whatever mistake you made, and just kind of like improvise. It's almost, I don't know, it's almost musical.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're talking like that pit room where Charles fell in that pit. It's actually really hard. It took me like a year before I felt confident about not falling in the pit. And by confident, I mean like I get it like 80% of the time. Falling in that pit is actually like, it's pretty commonplace, honestly. Look at this sink. Oh, Imyt getting elevator scammed right there. If you're not fully on the elevator, there's a mechanic in this game where technically Samus is considered on 2 tiles and it oscillates back and forth. And Imyt was pressed up and he was considered on the right tile. So sometimes you just keep pressing up and you can't go up the elevator unless you're like really on it. But here we go. Imyt looks like he executed that pit room a little bit better. So he's slightly in the lead here. Now let's see how these players do the climb. So you can see their personality showing here. I mean, Charles going for the ledge grabs, Imyt going for the wall jump climb. You're talking the 2 top any percent runners in the world right now. Well, at least on the leaderboards, Behemoth and Zost. Behemoth does the ledge grab climb, and Zost does the wall jump climb. So I mean, like the two highest boards do different strats there. I mean, that's just like how you can play this game. It's really great.
And that's the thing. You kind of just have to like. You pick, you know, what strat you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with. Sometimes you do have to take the loss, just because there's, you know, in Behemoth's case, he doesn't have an angle down button, so he kind of has some rooms he has to do without like the typical ledge grab, you know, and that's just the thing, you know, everyone's different play styles. Some people, like you, for example, you play on keyboard. And that's got to feel like massively worlds different than what we experience here, you know, as controller players.
Now, I got to point out that both these players did not leave Bomb Chorizo with 5 missiles. And that means that both these players, Imyt normally does a strat where you try to save a third of a second, 20 frames, by going really fast and arm pumping through. We didn't discuss this, but sometimes when you see these players pumping their arm, like the arm cannon up and down, it's not just for show. You do that every time you do that, Samus will actually move 1 pixel forward. So it does save time, and in the long run, you might save a few seconds over the course of the run. Now, Imyt normally does that in this room. It's kind of a harder strat. However, because he only had 4 missiles, he did a slower strat slightly where you just kind of shoot all the units, and you do get an extra missile out of it. So as you can see, both these players leaving with 2 missiles. That's kind of like what you want in this run, because once again, they're going to kill 2 bugs with 2 shots and a missile. So -1 +4, because they're going to get 2 missile packs, and then it's 5 missiles for the door. Noted.
Yeah, and that's kind of a cool thing to also look at, because when you're looking at your ammo, you have to plan ahead of, you know, of what's to come. In that case, you know, just with that farm alone, going down what we call the big purple room with the downhill whatever, that's called the Terminator room, and they did a setup where they bonked the door so that they can farm a free drop on the way and not lose as much time.
Mm-hmm. And just to kind of point out some other small, subtle differences, I mean, once again, we could talk about every single room multiple times, but I mean, just kind of to show the playstyle, the missiling the door that we did earlier in the previous room, Imyt does a strat where he actually shoots 2 missiles at the door in the air, so that he doesn't have to land and shoot 4 times. So he shoots in the air twice and then shoots the rest 3 on the ground. That is a scary trick because you miss 1, you're losing a ton of time. Charles only shoots 1 in the air and then he lands and shoots 4. By shooting 2, you actually have to, like, it's tricky. You have to stand and then you shoot the second wall moving forward. It's a very small subtlety that if you're not a speedrunner, you'll never really notice it. But I mean, there's a million of those things in every single room going on right now. Like, I can't. Stephanie and I cannot stress enough that we could talk about literally every single small movement. Imyt got the up and 2 right there, where he only had to do 2 wall jumps. Charles did not get that. It's a frame perfect trick, and he could not do the up and 2. So Imyt saving like another half second on him right there.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Like the tiniest things, you know, they kind of have to react to. Like even just a lot of people go for that strat, you know, the up and 2, and you kind of have to react, you know, with what follows. It's like if you get it, you have to be ready to follow it up with the wall jumps, right? Like a lot of this is just on the fly, and it does become muscle memory. Good attempt there for
Imyt
Ricky
and his
Skippy.
hubris. All right, so Imyt trying to go for some swag. There is this trick called the Ripper Skip. Now, if you get like 3 almost frame perfect wall jumps basically off the wall, you can make it up, and there is a ripper, one of the second rippers from the top, that normally will hit you unless you're absurdly fast. And Imyt went for it, got hit, and you lose like 5 seconds by missing that. So Imyt was a little bit ahead, but now he is actually a little bit behind Charles. But, you know, in the end, it's still the beginning of the game. We have a lot of time left.
Yeah, as you saw, like Charles was saving up a lot of time even after 2 mode dives in that last race, and this is not this. So I mean, it even comes down to like Fantoon patterns, because every additional Fantoon pattern will be like an 8-second loss. So that's also really important to take note.
Yeah, at the highest level, I mean, even at any level, realistically, you get multiple bad Fantoon patterns, and your chances of PBing just drop so dramatically. Obviously, some people reset a little bit too quickly, but here we go. Let's see if someone can get the CWJ here. Okay, Charles doesn't have the CWJ frame, and Imyt looks like he jumped a little bit too late. So they will both be doing the bomb jump once again. The horizontal bomb jump, HBJ. Ooh, Charles missing it again. Let's see if Imyt will get it here. All right, well, Imyt's
Nice.
HBJ looking clean. Charles once again having some mode problems. Now, it just goes to show how difficult this trick actually is. A lot of it is mental. It's honestly a lot of it
really
is
is
mental, because there was, you know, I would say for the majority of their careers, Imyt was probably the one that was like known to like be not as good at the mode. And Charles was the one that never messed the mode up, and he actually used to forego even going for the continuous wall jump because he was so confident in this bomb jump. But I mean, it's just like a mental thing. Like this is where a lot of runs go to die, and it is so hard to get across the moat if your mental is just slightly off. Here we go. Charles gets across. So once again, he's gonna be playing from behind, but Imyt is at the Fantoon right now, and you know, if Imyt gets some bad patterns here, and Charles gets some good patterns, he could absolutely catch up.
That said, though, Imyt is always eager to showcase. Although it's tough with this particular pattern. Oh, but he has enough missiles.
Oh, he really wanted that, Seffi. He really wanted that. Wow,
but he got a fast.
Never punished. Oh my gosh.
I know.
I don't know why he would get. Okay. So, didn't get the 2 round there.
If he gets another one.
Didn't
If
get
he gets
the 2
another
round.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if he gets another one, there goes all of his RNG for like the rest of the year.
I was kind of expecting him to get that rare mid. That would have been like a 0.5% chance that he'd get that. But yeah, not quite.
But it should be, yeah, good fight there.
Okay.
And yeah, right now you just mentioned, you know, a rare mid. There are some patterns that are more, you know, likely to happen than others. I know. I think it's like a 50% chance that Fantoon is gonna start with a slow
Mhm.
pattern, meaning it's like what he does is like he goes in like this like infinity like 8 symbol, and at certain points he'll open up his eye. Oh, this is just gonna be another
Yeah, Charles
not so good
unfortunately getting
pattern.
punished here. He's going to be getting the
Yeah.
slow, and his first Doppler wasn't good, so this is definitely going to be a 3 round as well. All right. Pretty good
Little
Doppler there.
flame hitbox scams.
But yeah, he should be able to clean it up. Oh my gosh, it's slow, slow, slow for
Oh,
Charles. There's no justice in this world. Come on. When you have those mode
no.
problems, you should be rewarded for the fast, fast. But Imyt somehow managed to steal that fast, fast from Charles.
I wonder if they swapped cards or something, and that's why. I don't know. I'm suspecting foul play. Just kidding.
But yeah, all right. So we have Charles finishing up that Fantoon fight, and Im is getting across this attic right now. The attic is honestly a very tricky room. You have to kill all of these enemies for that door to open on the left. So the best way to do it is to kind of lay the power bomb at the beginning, and then going ahead and just missing kind of the rest of the stuff. There's very different like subtleties that you can do to make that room a little bit faster, but that's kind of the gist of it. Lay the power bomb in the beginning and missile the rest of the stuff.
And he's the last dangerous part of this wrecked ship.
Yep.
As we see Charles going to pick up these his second super missile pack.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Imyt is getting across that bowling room. That bowling room has a subtlety in and of itself where right before they land on those spikes, they actually press left, and that lets them boost to the right backwards. Now, it's kind of funny. If you're a beginner, that almost certainly will just get you killed. It's something you have to
Yeah.
just kind of grind out eventually. And it's one of those things that people like kind of have to learn it early, because if you don't learn it early, then it's like, when are you going to learn it? You're going to learn it when you start getting good, and then suddenly you just lose a run when you're getting past Fantoon, one of the most RNG heavy parts of the game. So at some point you have to learn it. The other way is you just let it knock you backwards, and then you just jump, and you won't be able to land on the little statue in 2 jumps. But we call that the hole in 2, and yeah, that's why Imyt does the little boost backwards. Now Charles is coming up on that bowling section. See if you can get across.
Honestly, I am really a big fan of Imyt's ammo count, but let's see here for Charles making it through as well. Yeah. Now it is unfortunate because Charles, depending on how he feels like playing as well, going into upper warfare, it's like he might want to farm these cack attacks at the bottom of this elevator that Imyt is just gonna pass up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you think they're watching the restream? Do you think they know where they are, like where their opponents are?
I'm sure regardless, Charles probably just thinks he's very far behind, given
Right.
kind of what happened with the slow, and the other section. It's possible that they're watching as well, but yeah, I mean, resource-wise, as you were talking about, Imyt coming out has 9 supers. That's really good. That means he pretty much doesn't have to farm anything on the way down. It's a really good spot to be in. Whereas Charles with 6 supers, he is going to be farming the 2 cacks on the way back down, and those are pretty much unless you get scammed with the 1 in 255 chance, they're guaranteed to give you those supers. And yeah, if you don't get those supers right now, you have to sort of rely on the RNG of the speed bugs later in the game, and you need all the supers you can get, because each one of those supers, it actually comes down to the Ridley fight. Each of the supers will save you a lot of time on the Ridley fight, so you can't really not have you just want to have 9 or 10 going into Ridley.
Right. And even this decision to farm these enemies that you're gonna see Charles kill right now in a bit has been labbed out and just like mathematically been processed by a real cutie, another really great runner in this community. And he for sure, it's like, that 9 doctors out of 10 recommend you to like farm those cack attacks for servers. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be that 10th doctor for sure.
Yep. I don't know what's going on with that 10th doctor, but yeah, I mean, nice little door open for Imyt. It enables him to do a little strat that's going to be faster on his way out, where he can just kind of shoot the door with go up the left side and shoot the door with his spazer beam. But Yeah, I mean, so far it looks like Charles is playing pretty smoothly. And so here we go. Upper North first section. We probably won't see, unless Imyt has like the most atrocious Bubble Mountain ever. We're probably not going to see Charles be able to catch up to him at this point. You're going to bleed some time in this section, but I think what's going to happen with Imyt is he's going to have to probably mess up maybe some bigger tricks for Charles to catch up a little bit here. But I mean, you never really know. There's a lot that can go on. These rooms are technically difficult, so we're gonna have to see if Imyt is playing quite good right now. So we don't want Imyt really doesn't want to kind of like mess things up and give Charles a way to catch up, because Charles did start catching up to Imyt regardless of that early start that Charles had. So yeah, Imyt I think knows that he needs to play clean from here on out.
Yeah. If anything, maybe what ended up kind of giving Imyt a little bit of trouble was the spark. I mean, he got lava spark, but getting that pillar spark down in Lower Norfolk, that could be another time save for Charles. Obviously, we want both of them to prosper, so we just kind of like putting out there, what can happen, and like how Charles is able to bring this back. Imyt's just not gonna let up. However, though, he's been looking like he's playing like really clean.
Yeah, so Imyt quickly farming those two little power bombs. Charles having 0 is likely going to also farm those 2 power bombs when he gets to that room. But yeah, I mean, speaking of like the pillar spark, Imyt did miss that last time. Now, there is a mechanic in the game I'd like to talk about. It's called short charging. Now, normally in this game, to get the speedrun, and most Metroid game, I think Dread has the same sort of thing. In order to kind of charge your spark, you pretty much just have to hold forward and you have to hold run. And then if you have speed booster, you'll be able to get that spark. You can press down at some point, and then you can press jump and it'll let you spark up. If you're holding angle, it'll let you spark diagonally. If you jump and then hold right and jump, you can spark to the right. Now, the game actually checks at 4 different points during your running animation if you're holding the run button, and that determines on if it's going to get you to that point where you're going whoop, 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 you turn blue and you can charge it. Now, the funny thing is, because the game only checks it 4 times, if you're not holding run and you're just holding forward and you tap run right when it checks it at those 4 times, you can actually get that charge in a very small distance. Now, that's why you're seeing some of those. So you see Imyt running through. He's just holding run button the whole time. But to get some of those spark tricks that Charles was able to get earlier, you actually have to do a short charge where you're only pressing that run button on the times that it checks for the game. And so that's why it's kind of tricky. You have to get that in your muscle memory, and it's something that you practice over the course of, people practice this for years and they get better at it, but sometimes it breaks. And it looks like Imyt was having some issues there. Charles is having some trouble at Bubble Mountain, which is a little unfortunate. Let's see if he can get up here. All right, yeah, makes it up there. That room can get really bad.
Yeah, so coming up here, Imyt that's making really good time here. Solid 42 pace. Charles is maybe a little bit over a minute behind, but it's okay. Like, this isn't a big deal. Like, he could bring this back. Oh, Imyt took a spike damage that wasn't really necessary, but we will get to see a good attempt at the lava spark.
Yeah.
Coming up here for him.
So every damage you take here is kind of like, you don't want to take additional ones because you're going into Lower Norfolk, a place that you are not supposed to be in. I mean, we're literally grabbing resources to do Lower Norfolk, and we're grabbing the absolute minimum to get there, to do it as fast as possible. So any extra damage you take at this point can be pretty scary. But here we go. We got Imyt going for the lava spark. He's gonna have to get the short charge through the door. Okay, looks like he's got it. He's got to store it. Got to get this D-boost off the fireball. And bam,
perfect,
lands the lava spark. So there we go. Imyt is now on the elevator on the way down to Lower Norfolk, the most dangerous part of this game. And Charles is still doing some Upper Norfolk cleanup, and he will be heading over to that lava spark soon. Tuffy, doesn't this music just always get you pumping? Sometimes I thought about when I do my speed runs, I thought about just like muting. I don't know if you play with the music audio, but when I hear this, something inside me changes a little bit. So sometimes I think I should mute the audio so I don't hear this music. because this music is like, oh shoot, I could get killed. That's like what I'm thinking when I come here. So
Is that okay? I thought you were thinking more like it pumps you up and you. Oh, Imyt missed a short charge again. I thought you were alluding to like, I don't know, transforming into like, oh, this gets me into like my most primitive. It makes me want to like PB.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of does, but it's scary. Like everything here is gonna kill you, right?
When I listen to this music, I'm not gonna lie, I think of that clown emote walking around. It's been ruined. I'm sorry, Eddie. I start thinking clown music
just
when
dancing like okay.
Yeah, just waddling.
Yeah. All right, Charles.
Excellent.
Getting
Another. Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, I mean, like honestly, like I sometimes I'm in the zone, and like I'm playing well, because Upper Norfair, it's like you just zone out, you do the rooms, and sometimes like you do that, and then you stop, you get to the elevator, and suddenly you hear this music, and you're like, oh shoot, this run is for real now, right? And like I'm at a point in the game where I could just straight up die, and it gets scary. But yeah, I mean, here we go. Imyt had to do the bomb spread back up now. It's been interesting to point out. Let's see, Charles has to get this. Imyt historically has sometimes had issues with this pillar spark, where it just randomly breaks. And that's what we're talking about. Remember, the game checks 4 different times if you're holding the dash button. And so the speed at which these players are doing those short charges, I mean, there's literally like maybe 3-frame window where you're pressing those tabs off muscle memory. And if those break, you'll miss the spark. And Imyt tried, but he realized he wasn't going to get it. So he just went through powerbomb, lost 10 seconds. He's like, whatever, we'll just take it. So he did it again. I'm sure he's a little disappointed about that. But once again, still in the lead. Charles did get the pillar spark, so he's in a good spot here as well, but is still playing pretty heavy catch up.
Excellent spark right there. Horizontal spark for Charles as we see Imyt enter the dragon. He's good on energy, so he could play it pretty dangerous if he likes, since he's not stacked on full supers.
Okay, kind of some bad opening RNG for Ridley, but he recovered and he's in a good spot now. And so Imyt is unloading all these missiles right now. In this left side pogo, that's kind of when you're safe to just kind of like shoot missiles. That's why it's the best time to unload those missiles while you can. Most players don't like to use the supers at this stage of the game because they'd rather do it when Ridley's in their more dangerous state where he's turning red and attacking faster. That makes it so that you're spending more time on the point of Ridley when he's a little bit more predictable and a little bit safer, and then you can kill him faster when he's in this red state. So Ridley's red right now. So what Imyt has done, he's done the math. He knows that when Ridley turns red, he only has to shoot 13 times with the beam shot, and then the rest of the supers will be enough to kill. So it is something that the speedrunners will typically do. They'll math it out in their head. This is how many supers I have, and this is how many beam shots I need to do to kill Ridley. So there you go.
That's a really good fight. Yeah. Also, you might notice, at least here with, you saw it with Imyt, and you're gonna see here with Charles as well. They're gonna shoot in threes each super, or excuse me, each missile. I guess Charles just wants to unload all of them because it can get kind of weird to try to deselect your missiles, and just try to revert back to using charge shots. But yeah, typically you only shoot in threes because it just helps, like you mentioned, being able to math out, the damage that you have left to deal on Ridley.
Yes, exactly. So Ridley has 18,000 HP. Ooh, Charles is in a little bit of a tricky spot here, but Ridley does have 18,000 HP. Each beam shot does 300. So if you think about it, if you just only did beam shots, Ridley will go down to exactly his last shot. He'll have 300 HP. And so if you don't, missiles do 100 damage. So if you don't shoot missiles in threes, it starts getting a little bit awkward because you'll end up just overkilling him. So basically good fight for Charles. Ridley also is funny because when you get him down to 0 HP, he actually doesn't die. He needs to either attempt to grab you 10 times and fail, and then he'll just blow up on his own. But realistically, what most players do is you have to let Ridley grab you after the 10th. So you saw Charles jump into his claws to finish the fight off. So I mean, we're talking about really being a complicated boss, over-engineered AI. That's what really does. He's a completely over-engineered fight. There's literally a flow chart that you probably need to study a little bit to figure out how to fight that guy. I'm not even joking. I studied the flow chart to figure out certain things. I studied the flow chart that someone developed by reading the game memory, because this AI is literally that complicated. He does different things based on when you jump. Ooh, Imyt is going to have to wing this. Oh, not a good spot for Imyt. Okay, see, Imyt is taking so much damage right here.
So much
150
damage. Oh my goodness.
If he didn't
and
have
that's
that
why
E-tank,
you get that really tank.
If he didn't have that E-tank, he'd have 47. And if he messed up one more time and took another hit, boom, game over. He'd have to reset. That's... I mean, Imyt had 100 HP more than he normally has. If he got hit on that first one, he would have been sweating bullets. He would have been... if he was on PB pace, like, his heart probably would have sank and he would have been on, like, emergency mode. Like, oh, shoot, what do I do here? That's how scary that is. All right, so...
okay.
See, there you go. Charles took 100 right there. Literally 100. Like, this escape is where people die. People die in this escape. It's so scary. But with 193
this
HP,
last room a little bit more dangerous. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, with 193 HP, this should be safe unless something like catastrophic happens. But yeah, Charles, he's got this. There we go. Let's see if he can get this little manipulation. He's gonna get this mock bow. Jump. He pauses for a second, jumps up, and yep, there you go. And oh, okay, took a hit there. Yeah, that's okay.
Just one. Oh, that puts Imyt in really good super position, because once he kills the baby crate here, he's gonna be pretty much full supers, which is what he wants to see, just to give him a little peace of mind.
Yep.
Nice.
So that mini crate typically will shooting a little super at the door, you know, just for fun, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that mini crate, it's a nice super refill. It gives you the 4 supers. Nice to get scammed. But here we go. Really epic fight going on with this huge lizard boss. We're gonna see it's gonna be a difficult fight here. Oh my gosh!
Oh, wait a minute!
He got scammed by the rock. He got scammed by the rock. Okay.
Oh, but good recovery.
Kill. Okay.
That rock scam.
That happened to me on a PB pace, and I didn't know what was going on. But basically, when crate is coming up, there's some debris, there's some rocks that fly up, and if you shoot the rock, it actually eats your projectile. So Imyt didn't do anything wrong necessarily.
No.
But he shot a little bit. He shot a missile, and one of the missiles ate his rock. One of the rocks ate his missile, so he couldn't get the shot open, and then he messed it up. But he got the backup.
We get the backup. That is actually this game. I swear, I mentioned it before to Imyt as well. Like I told him, sometimes I think this game has it out for you, because and it gets that, especially if you spend so much time with the game. I don't know if you feel this way, Eddie, but it feels like it actually targets you and only you.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Yeah, I can't believe this happens to me, not the others. But yeah, Charles,
great fight there, Charles.
No rock scam for Charles, so he gets through. It's really rare for that to actually happen. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw, but it's really rare for that to happen. But Imyt did get the rock scam. I mean, that can often. Speedrunners are used to just getting the quick kill on that first segment. So if it messes up, there's some RNG. Crane might just dive bomb you, like right there, and you can't get the backup real quickly. So if that happened, and Imyt, let's say, just like threw some more missiles by accident, thinking that wasn't going to happen, he would have had to do the charge shot backup, which he probably hasn't done in ages, and he might have messed that up. Crane stands up, he loses like 30-40 seconds based off RNG sometimes, and then maybe Charles catches up. And that could have happened.
That's true. Yeah, it could have. I mean, yeah, when you have Kraid like that, you know, the timings get way different as approaching you closer and closer. So.
All right, so here we go.
Here we have
double X Factor strats. Here we go.
This is it.
Conserving the supers. Oh, really
that's
good.
So good.
So with that top pattern, that's probably the most common time you'll see the double X Factor strat. But basically, instead of using 1 power bomb and 6 supers, Imyt was able to use, essentially conserve like 4 supers there by using 2 power bombs and a super. So super. So he says 3 supers because he uses 2 supers, 2 power bombs, and then 1 more super at the end. So
Yeah.
I mean, here we go. Let's see, full half. Oh, Imyt doesn't get the full halfies, so Charles could save another 15 seconds right here on Imyt. I mean, if Imyt messes this room up too, it could be even more. So yeah, normally you just want to spark across this entire room, but Imyt missing that full halfie has to just sort of like deboost off these spikes and sort of slog his way through this room. And Charles, double X factor. Oh,
the double X factor.
Two double X factors. There we go. I mean, both these players now, by using the power bomb instead of the supers, they're conserving a lot of ammunition that they need for that Turian fight eventually. So, I mean, here we go. Now, Seffi, I've got to say, with the missed full halfie, if Charles gets the full halfie, and if Imyt botches this Dragon fight, I mean, this game is starting to get real close. Charles is really far behind, but he's making some time up. Here we go. X Factor swinging.
He's got to get a good spark, which looks good.
I think that was good, yeah. Okay, here we go.
He has Lotto.
All right, nice good 2-round for Imyt. Will he get the... Oh, there we go. So Imyt does nail the right frame, and he's leaving. He's out of here.
Yep.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You got all that energy from the extra energy tank. You got the double X Factor Batoon, so you got 4 supers. I mean, there you go. Don't need those Dragon drops. Get out of here, Imyt.
That's exactly why he likes that top pattern by Batoon, because he can just dip right after Dragon and save him sometimes.
Yep. All right, so here we go.
How much does it save? Would you say?
Which one?
Having to skip on the drop. Having to skip the drops.
I think it saves about like 4 seconds or so. We got Cutie in the chat, I think, so Cutie can let us know. Charles, unfortunately, not looking like he has the best fight here. Oh, I don't think Charles had a good opening, but yeah, there you go.
He didn't.
The supers that he has also gets the spike suits. So Charles, clean all around. I mean, he messed up the fight a little bit, but because he had those extra supers from the Batoon fight, by doing the double X Factor, he just launched a few of them into Dragon's belly and saved the 2-round essentially. So shouts to Charles, pulling off some sick moves there.
Yeah, that's one of the fights that you really don't want to, last. I mean, a lot of fights, I guess, you don't really want to go too long, because when they do, they go wrong pretty quickly and pretty harshly.
Yeah.
With something like that, like Dragon speeds up and you start taking a bunch of damage, and it just kind of like snowballs from there.
Dragon has a 50% chance to swoop, or what's known as swoop or goop. So when Dragon's swooping, she just goes like 300 miles per hour at your face, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so you just keep getting hit. And then when she's gooping, that's when you actually can like pause for a second, get a short charge, and kill Dragon. But if she just keeps swooping, I mean, we've seen like 7 people, you get like 7 swoops, it's just over. You're gonna either die, or you just lose so much health and time.
This is looking like another solid 43 right here for Imyt. So I would say, me should definitely be happy for this, because this is, again, like, I know we were popping off about like 42s earlier, but 43s are still, something difficult to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, when we're talking about one-off races where you have to finish the run, like, most runs will just be a reset, right? So you're not seeing the runs that, would have been like a 47, and then they get thrown out before it actually can be a 47. And I'm talking specifically about runners that, of Imyt and Charles's caliber, who, are pushing for something like a 41.
Right. They want to be able to like maximize the most of like their lead that they can have on their splits, to kind of like have a nice comfy run. They can't zone out, like, and just, and completely just let go of everything. It's not just free from there, but like there's a reason why they reset as they do. And but seeing this for them, like, just to assure them that they're running really good times, is, I don't know, I feel like that they should definitely, I don't know, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Seffi, I've got to say, it's not over. because
You
Turian,
know,
you're at the mercy of the super drops that the Metroids give you. And not only that, with the advent of the new baby skip, in a race setting, Imyt doing the good Metroid run skip, and he gets that the good strat for Metroid run, is able to nail it. One of the problems in a race setting with the new baby skip that everyone's doing, the old baby skip, if you get grabbed, you lose 30 seconds. That sucks. The new baby skip, very oftentimes what happens if you fail, in the context of getting a PB, it doesn't matter that much. Because either way you're going to lose your PB probably, but in the context of a race, if you get grabbed by the baby and you make it through the door, I don't know how much time you lose, but it's a lot more than 30 seconds. Because what happens is you lose all of your horizontal move speed, but a smidgen, just a little bit left, and you have to slog your way over to a save point, and you gotta save and reset. So they do have saves left over, but I mean, like, if that happens, and it's gonna be very far behind. So here we go. Let's see if he can get it.
Baby skip attempt.
I think he got it. He should be fine.
I believe so.
Okay, Imyt nails it.
Yeah.
Well played by Imyt. Now he's at the mercy of not shooting 2 supers into the glass of Mother Brain's tank by accident, which absolutely can happen. The turrets can actually eat your bullets, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. Sometimes the timing is just perfect on the turrets, and even if you're waiting and trying to block it, it'll just hit you. So here we go. Imyt has to get through here, and we have Charles getting through to the he's got to do the baby skip.
Baby skip.
2 important things going on here.
Yeah, don't want to get shafted here. Oh, good turret dodge. Charles
with a good skip. There we go.
Yeah, it's always, you know, you kind of wait with bated breath to see like how you come out the other side for some of these baby skips, because you move like at the speed of if you still had the baby on you. Is the thing.
All right, now here we go. Imyt does have the 1 extra super that counts as basically a charge shot. It's not over. This is the last dangerous part. I will say that if Imyt can make it through this fight alive, then he is going to be pretty much in a prime position to win this best of 3. However, if Imyt takes 159 damage here, he's got to reload that safety save. And if that happens, we're going to the 3rd match.
Even some wild, wacky catch-up that hits for like 2 for whatever reason is a reset for.
You can get double hit by the catch-up, 200 damage, game over. Run is over. It doesn't matter if you're on world record pace. Mother Brain can take you out instantly. So yeah. 60 shots.
The thing about it is that sometimes you can get like a really aggressive Mother Brain too, and just like the mix-ups are so real.
Yep. Oh, this is kind of always a little bit scary with this little meatball coming here. Okay. Imyt, I think, playing a little conservatively there, making sure he doesn't get hit by catch-up. I think he just wants to close this one out if he can. And he should be good.
Should be fine. I think Charles is actually kind of getting scammed here. That's a lot of dishes that she's serving out.
Yeah, a lot of you know, at the Denny's being really aggressive.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, Charles wanted a bunch of, you know, it's like Charles won like 500 free meals or something. Look at all these meatballs. Have another meatball, right? Have a French fry right there. Have some ketchup right here. All right. Okay, he's good. He's good. The catch-up phase generally is going to be a little tame unless something's... Oh, like this is going to be a little scary for Charles. Oh, he's got the E-tank. He's got the extra E-tank.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that E-tank actually saved.
That's why you take an extra E-tank in a race. Because if you have 3, game over.
Oh my goodness.
Usually in Mother Brain in the catch-up phase, she generally would just only shoot catch-ups at you. But every once in a while, she'll throw her other abilities, and 2 onion rings, they were kind of like staggered too. That was really like... That's a weird one.
It was like the weirdest RNG that I've been seeing.
Yeah, so I think Charles was a little shocked because Mother Brain, you know, just like opening her mouth, and then it's like, that's not what you expected. And then it happens twice. And then he's like, what's going on? And then she just like, you know, throws that ketchup at him and gets him. Yeah, that was some high level gameplay from Mother Brain right there. But
I didn't know Mother Brain was from like the fighting game
yeah,
community.
I
That
know,
was
right? Yeah, I mean, you queue up on matchmaking, you see Mother Brain, you better leave that fight. You don't wanna mess with her. She can get you.
no.
Yeah. If it's gonna try queuing up, Charles gonna queue up on Slippy, and he's gonna see Mother Brain. He's like, nah,
Mother Brain.
I'm not,
That's an
I'm
instant
forfeiting.
no.
Yeah, leave the game right now. Mix-ups are too good. All right, but here we go. Imyt having a little bit of trouble at the start of this fight, but it's okay. He's a little bit okay. I think his positioning is fine now, but yeah, having some trouble on this Mother Brain 3 fight, taking a little more damage than he wants to, but yeah, gets through just fine. And we have Charles getting through this cutscene real quick.
I think Imyt's really mad at that Mother Brain 3 because that's been
That's kind of been his kryptonite recently. He definitely had a tragic kind of moment where I think he was on that 41 pace, and of all the things, it was this Mother Brain 3 fight that's normally not really a concern. I think that got him recently, but you know, both these players have been doing so well, really pushing that for that 41. I highly recommend all you viewers to follow them because honestly, their Super Metroid content is so good. They've been working so hard to get this 41. It's kind of been one of their long-term goals for for ages now. I mean, I've been watching and following them for years. It's you always want to root for these guys. They're such amazing runners. Great communities.
They deserve it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here we go.
And it's just fun. Like they're fun people overall. It's just a good time.
Mm-hmm. So highly recommend if you want to see entertaining Super Metroid speedrunning. Imyt and smCharles, both great runners. I highly recommend watching the stream, following them. And yeah, it's been great. But it looks like Imyt is going to close this one out, leaving the animals to get cooked. But that's okay because Imyt's doing the cooking right now. And time landing on that ship, pretty much a 43-20. I think that might have been even a 1x, but there you go. I mean, despite the mistakes that they made, another relatively low 43. I mean, that's sick. That's sick. These guys are so good at this game.
Yeah, they are. Charles finishing not too far behind. Like, definitely, they deserve to pat themselves on the back. Put up really good races. You really can't expect to be getting the best because you never know. RNG might just heck you over. Charles finishes up as well. GG Charles. Yeah, Eddie, what these races, what a sight to behold. I like being able to watch top level runners just go at it. Yeah, obviously have fun.
It's really fun to be able to watch these race settings. I mean, very often we get to see people doing PBs, but races are always they just hit a little different, because you can't just reset in the race. It's not like, Imyt misses that moonfall in the beginning. He's like, oh, we're restart, redo. He's got to start. He lives with the consequences. 2 seconds behind. He's got to make it up in the series run by getting that mid 46. Really, really good. Charles misses the moat. You can't reset. You got to continue.
No.
And so there's this you need this mental fortitude to kind of compete in these race style settings. And today Imyt comes out the victor. We play another race. Charles probably comes out the victor. I mean, these 2 players are so good. They're both just pushing for that 41, and it's been such a good time, Steffi, to watch these guys play.
Yeah, it has been. Just thank you all for tuning in. Eddie, it's a delight. It's just an absolute honor to be able to cast with you. So thank you. It was so good. A professional TFT player right here, Eddie. And of course, an incredible SM runner. I know, Eddie, you've been recruiting around and just trying to get people on a.
Someday else will get into it. But until that day happens, I guess I'm gonna have to be watching some TFT content from him. But yeah, I mean, that was the Super Metroid match between Imyt and Charles for the TGS Speedrunner series powered by Shaw. Steffi, I had a great time. I mean, always a pleasure commentating.
Yeah.
It's not the first time we've done this. We've done this plenty of times in the past. No. And I mean, I just really hope that in the future we can get more Super Metroid races like this. I mean, we have so many people at all different levels, so many different routes. I mean, we got multiple categories. We got low categories. We got any percent categories. We got hundo categories. We have any percent variant categories. The community is amazing. I mean, there's the Super Metroid Discord. If you can, I don't know if there's like a link to it, but if you can Google it, I'm sure you can Google it. There's a Super Metroid Discord. You join it. Everyone is always willing to help you out in this community. You go to Imyt's channel, you go to Seffi's channel, you go to Charles's channel when they're streaming on Twitch, and you ask them about some Super Metroid questions. They'll be super happy to answer for you. It's just there's just so much to learn about this game. It's a very rewarding game. If you like speedrunning at all, you like fighting games, you like any sort of mechanically demanding game where you learn something and it feels good, Super Metroid is probably one of the best games that you can run. And I think you and I both understand that, Seffi, having played this game for a good amount. But yeah, I mean, I think that about does it for us. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
It was. Yeah, so I mean, please just follow Eddie. Like, he's super helpful. All knowledgeable. He's also willing to help. So I know we have a lot of people from the community just watching as well. But if you've not seen this speedrun before, yeah, just go ahead and drop in. Resources are out there. There's a Super Metroid speedrunning wiki and the Discord. Ask any one of us. We'll be more than happy to help or answer questions or just, show you a good time. But thank you, Eddie, for having me. And shout outs to the gaming stadium too for the opportunity to cast and to share what we do to all y'all. So
yeah,
big thanks.
Absolutely. So you could follow Seffi over here at twitch.tv/Seffi. It's in the name. You can follow me at my Twitch as well.
Eddie. Yep.
Twitch.tv/Eddie, actually. We have our Twitter handles there as well. And make sure to follow Imyt and smCharles. They are both also amazing runners. They stream pretty much every other, almost like 5-6 days a week. So Seffi does as well. So definitely go follow them. Amazing runners. And thanks everyone for watching. This has been such a great event. And
yeah,
that about does it for us. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and see you next mission.